They believe that this book holds the key, bro, to where your eternal soul, not a long time, eternal, is going to be forever. And they believe the answer is in this book.
Right.
I got a question. Then why you don't know this book? Your soul gonna be somewhere forever based on it, and you don't know it. You don't read it. You still asking where the scriptures at on baptism. Y'all, I'm upset with the motherfucker, baby. See, we want it broken down, but do you want to build up after it's broken down to you? Break the sermon down, preacher. Keep it simple where I can get it. And when you get it, what you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do? Because it's been broken down and deep for these people. Seem like quite some time. You say, Taylor, well, how can you tell about the time? Well, when we go back into the time and you look at the dating of the Hebrew letter at best or at far is at latest at 100 AD. Now, a lot of people believe that Paul wrote the book, but Paul died in the AD 60s or thereabout. Follow me. And the destruction of the Jerusalem temple was in AD 70. Most likely, if a writer was alive during the destruction of that temple, they would have wrote about it. Right. They didn't write about it. So we can probably conclude that this book was written before AD 70. And more than likely, Paul was around or alive. Paul didn't write this book. I have Bible for that, because whoever wrote this book testifies that they were taught the gospel. Well, Paul told us in the Galatian letter that he wasn't taught it by anybody. So I don't know who wrote it. I just know who didn't. Now that gives me a time frame with the church starting in AD 33. And this book probably, let's just say AD 70. All right. So now we're working on a time period of about 37 years. Anybody in here been a Christian 37 years? Probably so. You ain't got to answer that question. But let's just say we're dealing with first principles. First principles are usually taught in a new convert class where we learn the first principles like baptism, we learn about communion, we learn about our attendance, coming to church. And I'm going to just be generous, but let's just say it take you 10 years to learn that. So let's just say a decade, maybe 2, to learn first principles. Let's just say a decade, 10 years. Anybody been in the church 10 years? All right, that applies to you. So who is without excuse for not knowing first principles? Y'all good. I'm just talking about them other people. Don't listen. It's not for you, right? Verse 11. Don't take that literally. I need you to listen. Tell them to call back. Later. Verse 11. Verse by verse. Y'all in here? Yep. There is so much more we would like to say about this. He was talking about the priesthood and comparison Christ with Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the priest of a place called Salem before it became Jerusalem. And Melchizedek was given a tenth of the spoils by Abraham. Abraham, who is the father of many nations, paid homage, you see, to Melchizedek. Nobody knows where Melchizedek came from, where the priesthood started, or what. Some people speculate whether or not Melchizedek ever existed. But the point is, he's comparing Melchizedek to Christ, and that Christ is that high priest. And then he says in verse 11, you know, I could break all of this down. I could tell you how it works. I could teach you all about Melchizedek and Christ in the comparison. But then Paul says something that punches him in the gut. He said, but you are spiritually dull. The word is sharper than any two-edged sword, dividing asunder even to the joints, to the marrow, discerning the thoughts of man. But you dull. The word is sharp. The word is like a sword. So I wonder what it means to be dull. Some of us ain't cut none. Not y'all. Just the mother people, right? Then he says, not only are you dull, you don't seem to listen. How come they don't seem to listen? Well, if you've been in the church or been with them for any length of time, maybe a decade, let's just take 10 years, it would seem like when all this stuff is being broken down to you, and at some point in 10 years, people achieve doctorate degrees in 10 years. If you go to college right now, never having any college, you could get a PhD in 8 years. But we've been at it 10. Not y'all. Motherfolk, right? And they dull. And they just don't seem to listen. Those Christians, not y'all, are spiritually dull and they don't seem. But why don't they seem? Could it be that it's kind of like when you telling a child something and you have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over, and then you get like Moses, God tell you to speak to the rock and you start hitting stuff. Nobody understands Moses till they're in Moses' position because we want to be infants. Kids don't like responsibility. Only mature people can deal with responsibility. Watch this. Kids don't even want to be responsible for self.
Well,
all right now.
But if you grown, you're responsible for more than just yourself.
all right.
If you're grown. And let's talk spiritually about the motherfucker, not y'all. Notice it's difficult to explain some things, but they can be explained. The writer is not saying, I can't break this down. He's just saying, I need your attention long enough. I need you engaged long enough. I need you to actually take this seriously long enough. But I ain't gonna do it. Why you ain't gonna do it, Hebrew writer? Because they spiritually dull. And they don't seem to listen. Not y'all, the motherfucker. And then he says, even if, and when you look at it like this, if it's understood that the receiver could give all of this information and it will simply fall on deaf ears. Well, why is that? Because many times the motherfolk, not y'all, they come to the table or they come out on a Sunday or they come to a Bible study. They might even ask you a direct question. But the question ain't being asked because I want to know what God said.
All right.
The question is asked because I want to know if God agree with what I already got in my mind is supposed to be the law. And if it don't agree with what I got in my mind is supposed to be the law, then you must not be saying what God said, even though you saying it's in that book and you're showing it to me and I'm reading that all of these things that you're talking about, but that can't be what it means. I know that you went to school and I know that you understand the original language 10 times better than me, but I'm saying since I work over here at Publix and I'm a manager, what you need to understand is that I got more years and I know what this is talking about. Well, you might qualify for being spiritually dull.
All right.
And you don't seem to listen.
All right.
Why are we approaching our issues and asking questions, and then when the answer comes and it's not the answer we want, but it really is the answer, we do not move or act accordingly. Why? Because we've been taught this by generation before us and generation before us and generation before us, and preacher so-and-so before us had a bachelor's degree in this and a PhD in whatever, psychology, ain't had nothing to do with the Bible, but he's so eloquent, but he's been all over the country, but he does 30 gospel meetings a year. I don't care. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. Tell your person to come see me. I ain't talking to y'all. Talk to them motherfuckers.
I understand.
The thing is, When you get spiritually dull, you're in danger. We already don't seem to listen. Not y'all, motherfucker. Verse 12 says, you have been, watch this, you have been believers so long. Let me read that in the KJV. For a time you ought to be teachers. So this ain't no yesterday Christian. You ain't just been baptized. You didn't just get here. He says, well, at a time when you ought to be teaching others. See, have you been in the church 10 years? I'm not saying you should be teaching, but I'm saying you ought to be able to tell somebody something that they didn't know, especially a new babe in Christ. Right. You ought to be able to say something about this book, about this teaching, wait a minute, that you believe holds the key to where your eternal soul gonna be. Wait, this don't go together because some of us will go to, if they wrongfully lock you up right now,
all right now,
you will become a lawyer. It happens. I read a story the other day. Dude got locked up, went to prison. He was wrong. He studied the law, went back, defended himself, got out of jail, went to law school, became a lawyer. Now he helping get other people out that's wrong. Don't tell me. Now wait, that's life. That's right here on earth. But you say your eternal soul key is in here. But I only open it on Sunday or Wednesday. Dog, don't listen. Not y'all. That's the motherfucker. Then he says, you've been believers so long. He says, now that you ought to be teachers, instead, this is what the motherfucker doing. Look at what these folk doing, y'all. It says, you need someone to teach you again. Not that you weren't taught, but you need a repeat. How many of y'all like repeating yourself when you're talking to your kids? Not the thing to do. Not at my house. I don't repeat myself. I don't like it. Then he says, you are like babies who need milk and cannot eat solid food. You've been in the church for a long time, so long that at this point you ought to be somebody's teacher. I'm repeating. Not that you must be one, of course, we already know that, but you ought to be able to show somebody something. There was an expectation on these people, y'all, that they should know something. The Hebrew writer wouldn't have said it if they weren't expected to know something or be able to receive teaching. He says, watch, let me do it this way. Let me show you what them people, not y'all. When I would play sandlot football as a little youth, and we'd be out there on the street playing street football. Some of y'all did that. And we would be in the middle of playing sandlot football. And I was right in front of my house when I was playing. Watch this illustration. Here come Mama. She called me. I ain't gonna tell y'all what she called me because everybody not privy to the nickname.
All right.
But she called me. I'm playing football. She called me again. I run in the house. I know she didn't want to, she know I heard her. Go in there and make me a cup of water. Better not say nothing. You better just make a cup of water. Make the water. Hey, go outside. Had to stop the whole football game.
Time out.
She in the house. She know where to go get the water. She know where the ice at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It just seemed to me she kind of like them other Christians, and Christians that be in here. They know where to get the water. They know where to get the ice, but they rather come in here on Sunday
All right now.
and see what or somebody gonna give you a cup of water. What you doing in the house? When we gonna stand up and get up off our gluteus maximus?
Go ahead.
All right.
Wait. Am I just saying that? No, I'm talking to them other people, because the scripture will tell you, search the scriptures, see whether or not those things are so. And I'm submitting to y'all, what's hurting the church is that we are like he said back there in the Old Testament. My people, y'all perishing because you don't know. And then in Isaiah, I better have that read at some point. Let's go to verse 13. He says, for someone who lives on milk is still an infant and does not know how to do what is right. Y'all, get this verse from me. Get 2 Timothy 4:3. Get 2 Timothy 4:3. Y'all watch this. Get 2 Timothy 4:3. He said this. You don't know how to do what is right. Y'all gotta let that sink in. That's important. Now, we say, well, I have doctrine. I know some things, and this is what happens with our doctrine. Doctrine is any teaching. Sound doctrine is right teaching. Well, what do you mean, Taylor? Go and read it. 2 Timothy 4:3.
For the time will come.
For the time will come
when they will not endure sound doctrine.
Sound doctrine. Now watch this. Notice that this is the book of Timothy. I asked some people earlier this week about a text that was in Timothy and asked them who the husbandman was. The husbandman must be first partaker of the fruits. And people were saying, oh, it's the Christians, and it's the leadership. And I say, well, who is Paul talking to? It's that easy. Just who is Paul talking to? Nobody got it. So then I told them, he's talking to Timothy. And Timothy is their preacher. So he's telling Timothy right here, sound doctrine. Y'all know what the word sound means? The word sound doesn't have to do with audible sound. I'm going to give you the Greek pronunciation. It's hugiaino. Hugiaino means to be in good health. Not y'all, but them other people. They must be sick because they getting doctrine, but for some reason, they're not well. Now remember this, because after that, let's read. I know read. I want you to read it.
But after their own lust.
See, babies don't like everything. Some of y'all, back in the day, the new mothers may not know about this, and I actually remember this. It's crazy. Y'all remember how you would get mucus and congestion out of that baby nose?
Oh, here it comes. Get out.
My mama, it stopped my breathing. I didn't like it. And I don't know why I remember. I was really young, but I still remember air being pushed into me till it all came out. I did the best I could. But y'all remember that? But we don't like that. But mama was keeping the baby sound.
All right, guys. Good health. All right.
Together. He says, Timothy, you gotta teach sound doctrine, because the time is gonna come though. He didn't say you can avoid this time by preaching sound doctrine. Let's rewind that, come back again. Let's read it.
For the time will come.
Time will come.
When they will not endure sound doctrine.
They won't endure sound doctrine. But what they gonna do?
But after their own lust.
See, it's about being comfortable. It's about what I already believe. It's what I already have made the law. It's about what I already been told. Don't you tell me nothing different. I don't care how good it is. I know you done made a lot of money in real estate, but don't tell me nothing about real estate. I'm gonna go and do it myself. I know you financially free, but I'm gonna work it out, even though I'm in $30,000 a day. Most of us want to keep the same circle because we're comfortable with our circle, because our circle is just like us. But when you have the desire to grow, you realize you got to change that circle. But none of us want to deal with the uncomfortable thing of separating ourselves from that circle. I ain't saying you got to hate them or not talk to them again. I'm just saying you got to start structuring your life around something better or something you're trying to be. But that ain't what we do. What we do is we after our own lust, heap to ourselves. Teachers having itching ears. Well, your ears are itching, but a sound teacher ain't scratching. You trying to go where they scratching, because when you scratch, you're telling the person exactly what they already want to hear.
All right,
and you're telling them what they think they know, even though it's not sound. And when it's unsound, you're not healthy.
Amen.
See, now I'm talking to us. I'm going to say this and I'm going to go back to some other people. Ain't a preacher in this city, Church of Christ or otherwise, can show me and prove what I'm wrong on. If you know him, come see me. Now we're going back to the other people. All right, verse 14. Solid food, pause. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this. I wasn't going to. I had an extensive conversation. I just need my folk to know that I'm not a novice. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to just tell you what you said, you believe, holds the key to your eternal. And my encouragement to you is, don't be like these people I'm talking about. Study your word. Verse 14 says, watch this. Solid food is for those who are mature, who through training have the skill to recognize the difference, this the kick in the mouth, between right and wrong.